lot of those old military surplus places dried up. Of the good stuff, anyway.
The good stuff. I wish I could live it out. I have been the circle, the concierge, and the person.
Well, I'm AJ Glenn, otherwise known as Phoenix for a lot of you guys that may know my trail name. I do this little event called HangCon. It's the largest hammock hang in the world. Yes, the one in Florida is still the largest one in the world. It's a hammock camping event. It happens every year over MLK weekend. It's right in Brooksville, Florida. Well, between Brooksville and Dade City. It's a place called Florida Sands Music Ranch. It used to be Sertoma Youth Ranch. And last year we had right at 500 hangers that came in and descended on this camp, and we took over, and we had 5 of them in hammocks hanging from trees, hanging from stands. And it's a really good event. I encourage you guys, if you're interested in hammock camping, even if you don't even own a hammock at this particular point in time, come on by the weekend. We have vendors from all over the country come, and you can actually talk to the people that are actually putting needle to thread, sewing the gear, whether it be hammocks, whether it be jackets or quilts, tarps, whatever you're using for your hammock camping needs. They'll be there. You'll get to talk with them. You'll get to eat with them. You might see them do stupid stuff too, which tends to usually happen. Also, HangCon is another really good time that vendors like to come out and kind of reintroduce some things that they may be introducing next year. It's kind of like a Google show for the upcoming year. I know that we have a few new products that are going to be hitting the market that are going to be released at HangCon. Also, if you're interested in hammock camping after you leave here, I also run a podcast. I'm going to do another shameless plug. It's called the Hammock Hangers Podcast. We have almost 100 episodes where me and my partner that does HangCon, we interview vendors, we do trip reports, we do gear reviews, we talk about tips and tricks. And we run about an hour episode, and we release every other week. So we've got a huge backlog if you haven't found us yet that you can go catch up on. And we're still putting out content as long as Paul doesn't mind editing out my randomness that happens through life. So, but yeah, is anybody completely new to hammocks, like have never slept in a hammock at all? All right, wonderful. All right, you are a perfectly good company. In fact, a lot of the people that come to HangCon every year are complete newbies. Probably 70% of the people that we get registered, it's either their first hang, their first HangCon, or even the first time that they have ever even considered sleeping in a hammock. I do a lot of traveling over the summer. Both me and my wife are teachers, so during the summer we take my 2 kids and we go on these long summer-long road trips. And I've stayed in campgrounds all over the country, and I hardly have a hard time finding, like, I say legitimate hammock campers, because how many of you guys have ever been in a campground and seen like the Enos hanging from trees, and they're stretched super tight, and it looks like it's more of like a bungee swing for like kids to swing through more than camping. That tends to be the kind of thing that most see, but hammock camping is really, in my opinion, the better way to camp for a number of reasons. For one, I've not always been the particular size that I am right now. In fact, 4 years ago, I was 450 pounds. But I was hammock camping at that stage. In fact, I'd been hammock camping for 5 or 6 years before that. So hammock camping offers an opportunity for people of all shapes, sizes, ages, skill, abilities to be out, to get out and enjoy being in the wilderness, especially sleeping comfortably at night. One of the things, I was an Eagle Scout, so I've done my share of camping and sleeping on the ground, and going to bed was always the most miserable part, because even if it wasn't going to rain, for some odd and unusual reason, you were usually wet by the next morning. Some dew, or your tent had sprung a leak, and it was just always just a miserable experience. Even when I got married, me and my wife would always camp, but we had this huge tent with a huge air mattress. Well, you wake up, or you go to bed kind of suspended, but you know, by the time you wake up in the morning, your butt's on the ground, and you know, one of you is way up higher. I won't say which one, but you know, you guys can probably do the math. But hammock camping really opened the door for me to be out in nature. It's really great for your mental health. In fact, when I got into hammock camping, it was kind of like a godsend moment because my dad had just died, and I was kind of looking for a way to kind of, I don't know, an outlet to get out and doing. And I also have ADHD, so I get hyperfixated on things. So I got hyperfixated on hammocks. Just being outside, being comfortable, really helped me process through a lot of things, and it's brought me where I am here today. So that's a little rundown of just me and my introduction. But what do I have here? So basically, the thing about hammock camping is everything is modular. So I could have a piece of gear from 5 completely different vendors, and that's perfectly okay. Unlike a lot of like tents, usually if you buy like a Durston, if you have a tear in your rain cover, you've got to buy another Durston rain cover. But what if you don't like the Durston? I don't like the color, they only do that. Well, you're stuck with the Durston. Or with hammock camping, colors, styles galore. I can buy a tarp from, let's say, UGQ, which is one of our hammock hang-con vendors. And I can buy a hammock from Dutchware. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Now, what I have here today is a 30-degree Superior hammock gear, or Superior gear hammock. This is a gathered-in hammock. Now, what that means is the ends of this hammock are gathered together. That's literally all it does. It is suspended by a continuous loop here at the end, which is really just one of these things right here. Basically, this continuous loop is looped one end through a sewn channel in the hammock, and it is just mark-setted through. That's how your hammock is connected to the suspension. And one of the good things that I like is a lot of this stuff is not rocket science. So if you have to replace a suspension, it's really easy to do. In fact, I have a little hammock chair right here. And here I actually spliced the continuous loop onto it, which is another way you can do it. But if I wanted to, let's say, take another suspension, if I wanted to change out the suspension, or if I wanted to add a suspension, all I would do, I could take this continuous loop, loop it around, cinch it, and I'm good to go. If I wanted to change it, just undo it. You're not going to hurt the hammock. You're not going to hurt. You're not going to break anything by changing something out. So this is something that's really easy to change out if you've got a suspension that is old and frayed. A lot of these are made out of Dyneema cordage, and they're going to look a whole lot worse before they're even close to being free. They use this stuff in marine grade stuff. This is kind of where this was originated from. It's a type of cordage that does not hold water. Therefore, it has very little to no stretch, and it won't hold water, and it actually floats as well. But this right here will, this is 764, so this will hold about 1,600 pounds. And you can get the slightly thicker 1/8, which will hold, I want to say, like 2,800 pounds. So looking out here, I don't see anybody that's close to that weight. So again, I was hammock camping at 450 pounds using the thinner stuff, and I've never had a suspension fail. In fact, the only suspension that I ever had fail on me was some old what is it, Kevlar webbing. I had some of that, and again, when I was a lot heavier, it did snap, and well, unfortunately, gravity still works. So it wasn't the fall that kind of hurt; it was that sudden stop at the bottom. But anyway, so let's talk about suspensions here for a little bit. So this is going to be probably one of the biggest things that you have to decide on your hammock. How are you going to attach your hammock to either a tree or a stand? Now, the great thing about a stand is, well, I can just clip in. I don't necessarily need straps, which we'll get to here in a second. I can just loop over here depending on what the stand is. But the main thing, especially for you beginners, especially if you're not like hardcore ultralight, is these things right here. They're called daisy chains. Now, you can get, they do have lighter ones, but they're essentially webbing that it's sewn and you have loops. Those are the simplest bomb-proof suspension that you're going to find for a hammock. So I'm going to take my little hammock chair that I have here, and I'm going to demonstrate how I would use it. So you're going to have a loop here at the end, and all you're going to do is go around your tree or anchor point, loop through that loop, about head height for me. I'm exactly 6 foot, so for me, I know it's about eye level or to the top of my head. That's all you do. Now, to connect, I have a bunch of these around, but simple climbing braided carabiner. Keyword out of that: climbing braided. The most of the ones that you see that are thrown on keychains, they're not going to work. And you're also going to discover that gravity will still work.
So, $1 General carabiners?
Yeah, that's a negative, Ghost Rider. Unless you really want to test gravity, probably not a good idea. One of the rules that I have for hanging is I don't hang higher than I'm willing to fall. Do I want to fall? No. But I get videos sent to me all the time of the crazy people that are like hammocking like a line across a Grand Canyon or something like that. Those are stupid people. Yeah, no. In fact, I have a trailer that I hang off of sometimes, and how it's set, I'm not a huge fan of like the hanging situation, but my butt is about yay high off the ground, and so that is me, a little iffy, but I trust my gear, and if it falls, then that's my fault. But normally, my butt's about yay high off the ground, so that is a small drop if I have one. But anyway. So, I would have my continuous loop that I have attached in some way, shape, or form. What?
Long before this is over.
Then I want to find where I want to be and flip it. And you're attached. That's really all that it takes. Now, obviously, you see there's two sides, so I need another way to attach the other side. So that's just a beater hammock, so it's actually really fair. I use straps for a couple different ways. The strap the knot that I like to use. Nobody gets scared when I said knot, because I know knots are kind of iffy for a lot of people. That's fine. This is a crazy simple knot. It's called a Beckett hitch. Now, let's talk about these straps for a while. material that you get these straps made out of is very important. Very important because you do not want nylon straps. I don't care if they're double layered, weave, whatever. Nylon for straps and holding your weight is not your friend because nylon stretches. When it gets wet, it stretches a lot. So, a good friend of mine that helps with HangCon, that I actually met him here. We actually used to hold HangCon at this park. We were hung way over there. He had a Hennessy. He hung it super high, and he was getting in, and he was probably hanging about yay high, which I don't suggest with good straps. But it rained that night. By the morning, his butt was on the ground, and so we got him out of those straps, and we got him some new ones. Now, you don't want nylon, so what do you want? Polyester is the cheapest, easily available material for hammock straps. It doesn't hold much water, and the stretch is significantly less than nylon. It'll actually hold you up. You won't get that slow descent throughout the night. These straps right here are a Dyneema material, and these do not stretch. This webbing is made out of very similar materials as that cordage is made out of. They don't stretch. They're also super light. The only thing is this material is more expensive. But again, I am around, I'll just say about $250 now. These do not stretch. They also didn't hardly stretch at all when I was working. So, and the weight rating is about the same. Polyester, you're looking at probably about 1,000 pound working weight rating. And again, obviously nobody's gonna put 1,000 pounds in a hammock, but just as far as a safety factor, usually I take whatever weight that I'm at and I multiply that by 5. And that's what kind of the weight rating that I'm comfortable with using for whatever piece of gear that's gonna be suspending my big butt in the air. But as far as how am I going to use this strap? Alright. So again, this has a loop on the other end. And again, I'm going to hang it the same way that I did that one. I'm going to loop it around whatever tree that I'm in, which is tall, and I'm done. However, this one has a suspension system. It's actually my own invention, but it's based off of a few different ones. But the main one that a lot of you guys may know is a whoopee sling. Now, whoopee slings have been used in the marine industry for a long time, as well as with like logging and tree felling as well. Basically, it's just a fancy Chinese finger trap. How many of you guys have ever played with a Chinese finger trap? It's going to kind of essentially, because I'm trying not to trip over my own line here, you have a loop and you have a tail. And in a roundabout way, this connects to my anchor point, and I can actually move this up and down and adjust where the hammock is just by pulling this cord through this berry.
You fished it through there, huh?
Yeah. And to lock it down, I just milk it. It's called milking the berry. You tighten everything down.
AJ, are you still teaching the seminar on how to do that at HangCon?
I am not running the splicing class, but if you're interested in knowing some like basic splicing stuff, I do have some AM steel with me, which is this stuff. So if you're interested in learning how to do a continuous loop, I have no problem hanging around. Unfortunately, I can't stay tonight. I've got to head back tonight. But if you're interested, I'll be more than welcome to run like a little mini bonus class afterwards. But how does this work? So I designed this to use the Beckett hitch. For one, I like the Beckett hitch. It's my favorite suspension to use. And what that does, it's a knot. And okay, I'm gonna put it. Could I have a tree volunteer? All right, you're a perfect height for a tree. Maybe a sapling. I don't know if you're gonna hold my weight, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna put my strap directly through the middle of my continuous loop. You're doing a great job, by the way. And I'm gonna have a loop in front of my continuous loop. I'm gonna loop around and put a bite. I'm not gonna pull the whole thing through, just a bite, and then pull. Okay? Oh, your roots are coming undone. So, and then I can hang it up the other, and then I can get in. Are you gonna hold? Are you sure? I don't think so. All right. And again, to undo it, and you're good to go. You're ready to back up. Let's give a hand for our tree here. Does anybody else have any, like, I know that was a really basic hammock suspension. I actually do a whole class at HangCon on the various other types of suspensions. There's a lot of them. New people. There's going to be a lot of options. I'm just going to give you a heads up. Don't get overwhelmed. Try them. What's the worst that could happen? You buy two. If you're seeing it long enough, I guarantee you'll have more than two hammocks. Here's the general rule for hammocks. You only need one more than what you already have. And there's always that friend that you might meet down the road that you need that piece of gear for, that, and then you end up with like totes in your garage and your wife fusses at you for having too many because you only get to sleep one at a time. Well, yeah, I know, right? The struggle is real. Does anybody have any basic suspension questions or questions that I've covered so far?
Where do you buy that rope thing that you have?
All right, so the yellow one here.
No, the other black one.
Oh, the black one? The straps you can get from any hammock vendor. The ones that I really like, Dutchware Gear. He's like kind of like the Walmart Supercenter of hammocks. Dutchwaregear.com or just Dutchware.com. Hammock Gear also will have straps. You can also get it from some of the specific hammock manufacturers, Dream Hammocks, really anything, any business that sells straps. You can also, like this stuff over here, you can find on Amazon. Just look up hammock daisy chain. But again, I hesitate with Amazon because some of the Amazon ones will be nylon. They will not be your friend. So I would order from a reputable manufacturer that you know what you're getting. Some of our cottage vendors, you know what you're getting. And I also like to support them as well. You'll see difference between tree straps versus tree huggers. The only difference is a hugger has a loop on both ends. A strap just has a loop on one end. That's literally the only difference.
So, go ahead.
Question.
Sure.
When I'm out looking for a good spot, is there any recommendation for, like the best location, what I should keep my eye out for?
Yes. So when you are looking for a site, you're looking for anchor points that all of my hammocks are 11 foot. Yes, you can get smaller hammocks, but they're uncomfortable. And you'll say, oh, but I'm short. I don't care. If you have a 9-foot hammock, unless you've tried an 11-foot hammock, an 11-foot hammock is going to be more comfortable. The 9-foot hammocks are great for lounging in. They are really comfortable. But to sleep long term, I would strongly suggest an 11-foot hammock. But you're looking for trees, I would say between 13 and 18 feet apart. I usually just do like 5 cases. It's about 5 general distance. Cinch, which is another type as well. I like these better because my feet get cold, and I don't like when my feet get cold. Do you like when your feet get cold? I don't like when my feet get cold. And then it warms them. I hate those. It's more like a birth canal experience, and I don't like it. most popular is the zippered ones. These are going to be a little bit more expensive because, well, adding the zipper, the cost of putting that on, but your bug net's not going to go anywhere. It's going to give you the least amount of fabric that you've got to kind of wrestle with. It's the cleanest package look. And there's also ones you'll refer to them as like Franke style bug nets, where they will go over and they will either cinch closed at the bottom or they may have a zipper. Those I like better because I can either open up the opening at the bottom, swoop over, throw it over me, cinch in while I'm in the hammock, cinch up, and my weight will actually press that bug net up against my quilt so bugs won't be able to come in from the bottom. But both work really, really well. That's really the only difference. The center ones, again, they work. They're just more of a pain in the butt for me a lot of the times. Any other questions? The only other thing that you did, they make these hammock covers that instead of this mesh netting, it's more of a coated fabric, and that's usually for winter camping because it helps hold a little bit more of that heat in at night. But hammocks allow you to camp anywhere from 80 degrees all the way to negative 40 if that's your thing. You're off the ground. You're actually causing less wear and tear to campgrounds and campsites because you're not causing erosion on the ground. And if you're using straps, always use straps. You're also not really damaging the trees as well. So it's the greenest way to camp, and it's the most comfortable way to camp in my opinion. I mean, that's really my presentation. If you have questions, I really like to talk, so I have no problem answering questions. Or if you would like to see some of the gear, I'm not picky about my gear. You're more than welcome to come up and touch things. This particular stand, did I talk about the stand? Okay, so this stand right here is from a company, two of my really good friends, Cal and Kristen Fenton, called Yobo Gear. And this is their new stand called the Turtle Bug, kind of a play off the Turtle Dog stand that's been around forever. If you're around a little bit later when I have to pack up, I can have, after the hammock is off, I can have this entire stand packed up and into this bag in less than 2 minutes. And to set it up, I can set it up in setting up just the stand. And if I was just clipping in, I could have this whole thing out of the bag, set up, hung in less than 2 minutes. So if you're interested in the stand and have a question on that, I can answer those. And in my opinion right now, it's my favorite stand on the market. There's another company called Tensa Outdoors. They do a tensahedron stand. I didn't bring one of those today, but another really great company. Yobo has a few different stands. This is just their newest one. And I want to say it's only $400. But to me, that is my weight in gold, because when we go camping throughout the summer, I don't like sleeping in our pop-up that we usually take, but a lot of national parks and a lot of state parks, especially in Colorado, they won't let you hang from trees. And most of the time on our trips, most of the sites that we have set up in, there haven't been trees to hang from anyway. So I can guarantee that no matter where we are camping, my butt can be in a hammock, roasty, toasty, and comfy for every night. And considering how expensive hotel rooms are, it's like 2 nights in a hotel. So that is my talk. Thank you guys for listening to me yabber. If you haven't been to HangCon, we would love to have you. It's MLK weekend, January 16th through the 20th. And if you're interested in podcasts, my podcast is called the Hammock Hangers Podcast. So feel free to come around, look at the gear, touch some things, ask questions, and otherwise, enjoy
Okay.
the rest of your weekend here at this great event. Thanks, guys.
Great job.